Hey everyone, it's Jason. Just a quick note that we had some technical difficulties during the recording of this episode. I wasn't able to edit out all of the little sounds and imperfections that I'm normally able to. We had some dog barking that I couldn't edit out, and you may notice some odd cuts, and this is due to my computer dying. I've since replaced it. Anyway, thank you very much for listening and watching, and enjoy the show. Coming up on today's episode, you may hear information about different NFTs or investment opportunities. As always, we remind you we are not financial advisors. This is not financial advice, and some of the information you hear may be inaccurate. Enjoy the show.
Do your own research. Sorry, fuck that bit up. Hello and welcome to Nearly Fresh Topics. We're not quite cutting edge, but we're close. In this podcast, we talk about NFTs primarily, but also a little bit crypto, fantasy. We do comedy bits and quirky news. Jason, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. I can't talk, which is great for the podcast. But other than that, I'm doing pretty well. How are you?
A little bit sleepy. Yeah. I'm grand. I'm doing well. What can I say? I've been less busy at times, but I'm getting through it. So today's episode is a very special one because we have our first guest. Introducing Mr. Keith from MasterBrews as Keith Busey. Is that how you say it?
No, wrong. It is Bussy.
Bussy. Okay. Pardon me. Well, how are you doing, sir?
I am honored to be the first. It is in many years when our grandchildren, once I find out about them, look upon this podcast, they will be like, wow, my grandfather was that guy.
No, totally.
Very auspicious day. Very auspicious day. Yeah, it's great. Keith, as Ross mentioned, you're from MasterBrews, which of course Ross and I are familiar with. For those of you unfamiliar, although we speak frequently about MasterBrews on the podcast, but for those of you unfamiliar, MasterBrews is the company behind NFT projects like Whelps and Heroes and Villains, which Ross is the artist on. One of the artists on, and MasterBrews also does a lot of behind the scenes work for a number of other projects that maybe we don't take center stage on. So that's MasterBrews. How did MasterBrews come about?
So it was a dark and stormy night back in March 2021, and I was just browsing around the internet looking for what was new. And to be honest, I cannot remember exactly the first project I stumbled on. But we did see, I did see things that looked interesting, things in the card space. You know what? The first one might have been Gods Unchained, which was Immutable X's first game. That might have actually been the first thing I saw. And then I saw other projects. And as I dove deeper, I was like, hey, I'm kind of bored with what I'm doing. I was at a mobile gaming company at the time, doing stuff I've done for years already. And I was like, this looks like there can be room for innovation. I like to be creative. I like to innovate in tech. So I decided to, figure out what could be done. And then it hit me that a lot of it could be done really cool stuff with no need for a budget, so to speak. And that became an instant attraction because I'm like, okay, I can do this on the side. And if it works well, I can just jump in full time and this can be my new business. So that's exactly what I kind of did. I kind of conceptualized. I hit up my co-founder now, Adam, who's Tilting Shock. And, he had a little more responsibilities than I did. So he was less willing to leave his job once I told him we need to do this full time. But he quickly joined me and we haven't looked back. We've pivoted a lot. We've had many ideas go different ways. We've changed direction, and here we are about, I would say, 2 months away from our 1-year anniversary.
That's right, from March, April. That's right.
And then my dog is apparently going psycho at someone at the window, so Bullseye
is a good name. I like it.
That's okay.
He's coming over.
Animals.
He probably just senses a mailman or a package delivery.
It's fucking going wild.
Yeah.
Well, it's all right. We often get animal distractions. You know, Jason's cat's always fucking barking at him. So
Yeah,
He's
always.
here. Would you guys like to see him?
Yes.
yes, please.
Get up here, Bullseye.
He's really sweet.
Aw.
Oh,
So this is Bullseye.
Oh, he
He's
emerges
a
into the
Dalmatian
background. Well,
pointer.
I know.
he's a what kind
He's,
of pointer?
He's a Dalmatian pointer, and he's now 7.
all right.
7. Very good.
Great.
Very good. That's awesome.
It made me
Yeah.
think. Sorry to butt in. It
No,
made
go
me
ahead.
think. Have you guys seen the video of the cat that barks like a dog at the window? Like it's trying to tease other dogs like in the neighborhood, and you hear it barking like literally quite like a dog. And I'm not sure if you've seen the videos where cats are looking at birds and they're like,
Yeah.
and they're doing some freaky shit. I think that's them trying to imitate birds as well. They try and imitate things. And it's so strange. But yeah, the video of the cat is like, "Roar, roar," and then it figures out that it gets caught and it turns around. It's like, "Roar, roar, meow." Little bastard. So sly. So sly.
Yeah. You know what's interesting is if you ever have a pet cam and you leave it on when you're not home, it's awesome to watch what pets do all day. Like people think they just, at least for dogs and cats, they think they just sleep all day.
Yeah,
That's not the case. They do some really interesting things, like with their toys. They'll organize them in different piles, different places. Like try to think, well, where do I want to put this? What do I want to grab? And it's really interesting to watch that type of footage.
I bet. Have you done it before then, I assume?
Yes, when I first got him, because I had to work in an office. That feels like decades ago now. But when I had to go into an office, I wanted to make sure as a puppy he was fine alone for a couple hours. So
Right. Absolutely.
Speaking of something that feels decades ago now, I've always sort of known MasterBrews since I got into crypto, which was almost a year ago. So to hear that you founded in March 2021, was it March you said?
yeah, either late March or early April. I'll have to
Right.
check.
So to me, I didn't even realize it. Just like to me, it was like they've been doing it forever, you know. But yeah, that's only been a year. That's wild.
Yeah, we've maintained a very small core team. And the other thing we're very proud of is we've maintained being self-funded. So we had initial investors, not large investors, but some friends who put some money in to help us do some marketing. One, did we ever learn we did the wrong type of marketing? And it wasn't right for the space. And B, as soon as we had our first kind of success selling some NFTs, we paid out those investors with a nice return for them. And we're 100% self-funded, which is great because nobody can tell us what to do.
It's worth a lot. I mean, I couldn't imagine like not being your own boss, and having people tell you, no, you must go here and do this direction and whatnot. It's never been in my DNA either. So yeah, I can.
Yeah, especially when you have creative ideas that are outside the norm or outside what's popular. A lot of people are, no, let's just copy these guys. This model works. They've proven it. And that's not my style, and that's not Adam's style. So we've struggled with it at many startups, and now the only person I have to argue with is him. So I'm pretty good at winning those battles.
Good. Yeah, I remember I first saw Well, you say the marketing didn't work. Maybe it didn't, but that's how I, through those Brave ads, that's how I found you guys. So it worked for me at least.
And you've become a valued part of our family.
Oh, thank you. Well, speaking of Gods Unchained and Immutable X, did you guys hear that GameStop is going to be using Immutable X for their
yes, and they're going to be launching a fund for developers as well. I actually saw the GameStop NFT page probably 6 months ago. They had a coming soon splash page for ages, and I read the news. I want to say it was maybe yesterday. So it's definitely interesting. It's another tip to Immutable X. They're gaining some big brands, some big names, and Immutable X. A lot of people asked us, do you do stuff on it? Are you planning to? So we haven't done anything yet. We've looked into it, both from a MasterBrews perspective, and I've looked into it on a personal level. There's a lot to like. There's, the one thing I don't like is how it has a central authority. And that's great, though, potentially for wiping out a lot of like rug pulls and scams. But if they're backlogged, it's a hindrance if you want to move it, really, really fast pace. So if I had to pick a con, that would be the con. But that's also something that seems like it's not the hardest problem to solve. Meaning, if they are backlogged, they can just get a bit more staff, perhaps, and problem solved. It's a lot easier to solve that than solve combating fraud or fraudulent actors. So
Yeah, I bet.
No, absolutely.
So for the layman, and I'm not saying that I am a layman, but maybe I am. What is Immutable X?
So they basically set up their own chain. I believe the first project they used it with was Unchained Gods. Is it Unchained Gods or Gods Unchained? I'm pretty sure
Gods Unchained, I believe.
Okay, so Gods Unchained, and that's been around, I want to say over a year now, over a little over a year. So it was kind of their proof of concept. They're out of Australia, and they set up. What you're showing here is they set up a fund for developers.
Right.
That's obviously something that's going to attract attention, attract people to it. I'm not sure how much they're giving per project, per developer, if it's a cap. A lot of these big funds do something like, $50,000 or $100,000 as a cap.
Right.
Not sure on the details of this one per se.
So is it a blockchain? Or is it a protocol? Is it a coding language? Is it I'm not entirely sure, to be honest.
Yeah, so they have APIs to use, but from my surface research, they did build their own chain. I'm not sure if I'd call it a side chain. I still have to do more deeper research. But in effect, you need to use their wallet. They did provide a simple way to bridge it and link it to, for example, MetaMask. Right. So if you, the perfect place to test it is probably Gods Unchained. If you're there with MetaMask, it'll pop up their wallet and just ask you to link it, and that's a one-time deal. The other thing they're doing that people like is, I believe they're letting people, if you launch your own token and you use it for your game or whatever purpose, I believe they will supply some liquidity, or at least the means for people to exchange IMX for it, giving you kind of a better way to onboard people. So they're definitely looking like they're targeting, mainstream adoption and trying to help onboard users as much as they can. So
that's awesome.
And so IMX being their token, right?
Yeah, IMX is their native token, and then Gods Unchained has its own. I'm almost certain it's called Gods, GODS.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
And we see here, this makes me laugh. It made me laugh the last time we talked about it too, that it's a typeform.com page in order to apply for the grant. But hey, if it works, it works. I guess if they had built the infrastructure for their own form, they'd only be able to give $99.95 million away. So
and what this demonstrates too is how early it is in the space still, because GameStop, if you check, when they made the announcement, or on Reddit or on Twitter, they are full of people trashing them, negative comments. Same thing happened to Ubisoft, same thing happened to Sega, same thing happened to everybody, any brand coming in. We just saw the same today because we just signed Insane Clown Posse.
Oh yeah.
And the response from their fans has been that NFTs are a scam. They are all never supporting the band again.
Wow.
So we now know exactly what GameStop and Ubisoft and all these other companies feel like.
Oh, Christ.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I feel like Insane Clown Posse probably eats that stuff up.
Yeah.
Right?
For breakfast.
You know what? If you have one of their diehard fans saying, because they're going to sell, or they don't even know what the NFT is going to be yet. They don't know what the metaverse project is going to be, but because they heard the word NFT and said, I'm giving up on being a fan for 25 years. Yeah, I don't know how much of a fan you are, because I can't imagine something I'd love that much for that long and just hear something like, and be like, oh, screw this band.
No.
What if they collab with someone? What if they collab with a musician that person doesn't like? Are they also going to jump ship?
Yeah, maybe.
Right. So just you may have mentioned it, I don't know what was recorded or not, just for the listener who may be piecing this together. MasterBrews recently signed with ICP, Insane Clown Posse, to be their NFT blockchain provider. Is that correct?
Yeah, so we're planning on something. The ideas are still getting finalized, but it's going to be in the vein of ICP Presents Metaverse Mayhem. And if you know anything about the Clown Posse and their whole kind of theme, you can probably imagine the kind of fun we're hoping to have with this. So
absolutely. I only know ICP based on media reports I've read over the years, so I don't know if that's necessarily an unbiased look at them, but it always sounds hilarious to me.
Yeah, they're actually really progressive in that they love to try all kinds of things. They did have a crypto coin, I want to say back in like 2000, maybe 14 or 15. So they've definitely tried stuff ahead of others. They like to expand their horizons. They've done everything from hosting pro wrestling events to, it's not just music, it's not just rap. They're kind of all over the place with what they've tried. And we think that's pretty cool because we have that same mindset to not just copy what's out there and just, so there's a lot of synergy in that vein. And I think it came off to them when, we're not the only company that they talk to about NFTs, and we're not even the largest one. So the fact they went with us is kind of, I think, because we have the same mindset and want to try some unique things.
And we had a question on the Discord yesterday after the announcement was made. They wanted to know the backstory, how that came about, you signing with ICP.
So I was curious. I had no personal connections to celebrities or musicians, and I was very curious if you just reached out to managers, and this was last summer. I sent a few emails off to a few different people, and we got some replies back. Usually, most people weren't interested. One of the best replies we got was an accidental email reply from the manager to Dave Grohl that was not supposed to be seen by us. And let's just say, if I were to put it very, very shortly, Dave Grohl's opinion was tell them to fuck off politely, fuck NFTs.
Fuck NFTs.
And it's funny because we spoke to someone maybe like 2-3 weeks ago who's the manager of a band we were thinking about getting for Ragnarok and having them do some theme music for the website. And yeah, he funny enough, he knew very well Dave's opinion of it too. So I guess it's something that's not a well-kept secret, but which is funny because I don't know Dave Grohl at all, but he's always struck me as someone who's like progressive and open-minded, and apparently not for this situation. But yeah, so we had sent off a few random emails, totally random people, like Fred Durst of Limp Bizkit was one.
Oh, totally.
So Dave Grohl was one. And ICP was one, because I'm like, you know what? They seem like they might try things. And their manager got back to us. They were really busy. They were interested, but they were really busy with their 30th anniversary album in the studio. They were bringing back the gathering after COVID for the first time. So there was a lot of stuff going on. And we kind of went back and forth casually for a couple of months. And then this month now, now they're ready, they're serious, they're good to move on it. So we were very happy that deal still got done.
That's awesome. Well, that just shows you, right? Initiative pays off. The worst that happens is someone says no. But all I got from that story is that you've got Dave Grohl's email.
Among other things.
Yeah. I saw Foo Fighters. I've seen Foo Fighters a few times, but I saw them most recently on the tour where he had earlier in the tour broken his leg on stage and then stayed on stage while getting it patched up and finished the show. Jesus. Anyways, he came to play here, and he had a throne that like shot lasers out of it and stuff. It was pretty cool.
So I have a confession. Really, since I've been watching the show, I have yet to watch either of The Wheel of Time or The Witcher.
Oh Lord!
What about The Expanse?
I saw an episode of that like a long time ago, I think.
Right.
But there's just so many shows. But I am, as I'm sure I've told both of you multiple times, very impressed with The Peacemaker. It's so much better than I thought.
Yeah.
And that'll be my show recommendation, as well as I just started this morning in bed, Pam and Tommy, which is a satirical parody kind of take of the whole Pam Anderson, Tommy Lee. And so far it's excellent as well.
I haven't seen that yet, but one of my favorite actors, Jason Mantzoukas, is going to play the voice of Tommy Lee's penis, or is playing the voice of Tommy Lee's penis.
So yeah, that came out. He's the guy who plays like the crazy Pimento in Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, you can tell it's
Pimento and the lead. He's a voice
in
on
Big
Big
Mouth.
Mouth. He was on The League. He hosts the wildly popular How Did This Get Made podcast. So yeah, no, he's a good guy. Everyone named Jason is a good guy. So
that's what I thought. Some favoritism going on.
You know what? I'd have to think. I don't know if I've met a bad Jason. So
I guess
now,
just Jason from the horror movies.
Oh shit!
He's just misunderstood.
Just misunderstood. And then the other piece of NFT news that I gathered for us today, if it'll load, who knows, maybe as soon as I hit share screen, it will crap out on me again. Can you still hear me? Can I still hear you?
All good, all good.
Yes.
Nintendo has interest in the metaverse, but ponders what fun it can provide. Oh, it says update, more accurate translation now available. So that must have been a mistranslation from the original Japanese. But yeah, so Nintendo getting into the metaverse. It doesn't specifically say NFTs, but I can certainly see a use. We know that gamers apparently have no interest in NFTs, but if Nintendo has an interest in it, and Ubisoft has an interest in it, then I think it's coming for gamers whether they like it or not.
Yeah, for sure.
I think it just, they won't even realize that it's NFT technology. It'll just be baked in so much that it's like a default. And people, even if they're buying cosmetics, they're trading them on marketplaces. Most people will probably have no idea that it's an NFT.
Yeah, that's a good point. They're just going to change the name to something acceptable and people will love it, Whereas just now it's like, say NFT out with the crypto and NFT space and you're just branded immediately as an asshole, basically.
Yeah, you're ruining the environment single-handedly.
That's correct. That's correct. Shame on me.
That's another headline I read is that the World Wildlife Fund is selling NFTs now, and people are criticizing them for you're ruining the environment in order to raise money for your environmental organization.
But Mario, Nintendo overall, but especially the Mario universe, it's so expansive. There are so many cool things they could do, and it's the same with how long it's taken them to agree to finally do an animated movie since their last movie, which is now kind of a cult classic with Louise, I always forget his name.
John Leguizamo and
Leguizamo, that's
Bob
and
Bob Hoskins.
Yeah. So you know what? It's amazing it took so long for them. I believe now it's coming out next year, if I'm not mistaken. And that'll be cool. And I don't get why they don't do a lot of things. Like Mario Kart 8 has been out now, I think, on the Switch for about 5 years.
Oh, damn.
And they have not offered a single new track to download yet. And they aren't going to, obviously, but they also said they're not going to release the next one until this one's sales drop, and sales don't drop. So
well, not a bad problem to have, I guess, then.
It is if you're a fan and you want to play a new track.
Yeah. Fair enough.
But you know what? Then you can play the Whelps tracks. So
that'd be cool. Looking forward to that. I actually tried to make a sort of Mario Kart clone, but it wasn't a clone. It was an idea for a video game where you played as a little dinosaur and you rode bigger dinosaurs. So it was like a kart racer, except with actual things with legs. It was pretty cool. The concepts were cool anyway, but I never I never nearly got around to finishing it. But one day. Yeah, definitely a big kart racer fan, and Mario Kart is just like, I'll play it with my family and it'll just fucking decimate everyone. Like, you just play it to everyone's raw.
I really want to go back to Japan for many reasons, but I've only been there once, and I know they have like full adult-sized live go-karts with like full-on Mario theme, right?
Oh shit!
And I think they're building a Mario World theme park, and they're doing all kinds of stuff.
God
I would absolutely go there and play adult Mario Kart, like driving around. And I don't know how the battle part's going to work, but I think I'd do all right. I'd be Bowser.
Definitely. Same. Always the heaviest character. Get on a motorbike, you know. Nice drift on it.
In Niagara Falls, on the Canadian side, of course, there is a massive Mario Kart branded go-kart facility.
Nice.
So that if you're ever passing through Niagara Falls, you can go play Mario Kart in real life.
Good there's a group that does it here for birthday parties. Like you hire them specifically, and they'll rent out the place for an hour or whatnot, and they'll just bring you little costumes and like plush bananas or whatever toys they want, mushrooms, I guess. Now go-karting on mushrooms can definitely be a spectator sport.
I don't think I'd try that.
I am what some may call a wimp. And so I've only been go-karting once, and it was when I was a child, and I did a half lap on the course, crashed into some tires, got out of the cart, walked away, never went go-karting again.
That's fair enough. When you crash, it's not nice.
We used to do it in Costa Rica, but because their vehicles for adults were basically their vehicles for children, we really felt like Bowser and Donkey Kong in these things with our knees up to our face and the steering wheel in the middle. Could not get our legs under the steering wheel.
Jesus.
Now bumper cars all
Costa Rica, I believe, Jason, you had a question that's been burning inside you.
Well, yeah, you know, I heard, Keith, you talked about it on an AMA once, but didn't get into details about you had a marriage to an older woman.
Yes, I did.
And I'm piecing together now that it was in Costa Rica.
It was. And since, I'm the honored first guest of this show, I will reveal the story. And I think it's a stroke of genius, but we'll see what you and Mr. Ross think. So when I was in my young 20s, I moved to Costa Rica. We were working for an online dating site. And we just decided to up and move from Montreal to there because my boss didn't like paying taxes. And it was legal to not pay taxes in Costa Rica on foreign income. So long story short, once we got there after a few months, they started getting stricter on actually having a residency to live there and work there. And the problem was there was no options I qualified for. The only one that I could qualify for was marrying a local. And the big problem there was there was a whole system set up. Any lawyer would do it. They'd find a girl, let's just say at a bar. They'd give her like $300. They'd take like $200-300. She'd sign the papers, the divorce, like everything at once. You never meet her. And it was purely to get your residency. And everyone knows this was going on and nobody cared. Like it was just the process at the time. Except the problem was foreigners were starting to get screwed if these girls got pregnant, because then they were entitled to child support. They were allowed, in some cases, they moved into houses with like Americans or Europeans who had never met them before. Their passports were seized if they didn't pay 12 months child support up front. So a lot of problems were going on. And, if you know anything about them, a lot of them get pregnant pretty often, which maybe has changed today. I don't want to get Costa Rica murdering me, but at the time it was pretty frequent that it would occur. And whether it was on purpose or not, I don't know. But so this was my dilemma. I did not want to be one of these other American, cases, statistics. And I had to find a way to still get one, though, so I could live there. So, stroke of genius, I decided if I married a really old woman, chances are she wouldn't get pregnant. And as I was telling my friend this one night, he suggested that his mom would be perfect because she was around 68, 69 years old.
God damn.
So, long story short, I became his stepfather very quickly. He was older than I was, and he was a doctor in med school, so it was pretty good. I'm pretty proud of my son. And then never met my wife, at the time, until one night we had to go. He wanted to stop at his house to change clothes. For some reason, we were going out. And she was just there in curlers and, robe and no makeup. And all she did as soon as I entered was she ran away. And I got told the next day that he got quite berated by his mom for bringing me home without warning her so that she could put on her makeup and things. And
Right.
the next question was, well, does she expect we're going to consummate this marriage or? And yeah, that that's how that story came to be. So I still think it was a genius move.
Yeah,
I
had
gotta
no
agree.
troubles.
You're a true problem solver, I must say. I'm very impressed.
I think outside the box.
I think for sure. For sure.
and hopefully any statute of limitations has passed now in terms of although I guess if the authorities are aware of it and don't do anything, then it's
Yeah,
good.
I don't think they really care. So many people do different ways now, like perpetual tourism, right? As long as you leave every 90 days for a weekend, you can live there for a decade and they don't care. So
Right.
Well,
now you know one of my
That's a great
secrets.
That's a great story.
It is a great story.
And now at least 12 more people are going to know it as well. So all our listeners.
I don't have any stories like that. I wish I did sometimes. It's you've lived a more colorful life than I, clearly. What I like to do for fun is I stay home and I don't speak to anyone, and that's cool. So
Yeah.
Well, you're breaking out of your comfort zone now, then, because
hell,
you're on a podcast. You're a official podcast celebrity.
Bye. No, I don't know. We don't talk about that. We just we like it. We're just the bubble of us three, really. Yeah. But okay. Christ Almighty, it's a good story. I like it.
That was a good story.
Yeah, I was, for the record, I was also married for real to a Costa Rican, but she was a little bit younger, so right around that 62 mark.
Right. Yeah. So she did get pregnant.
Nope. My soldiers know when to stay down. So I want to show you guys.
Oh yes, please.
I am so proud of this item. It is matching my background, the actual Infinity Gauntlet. Took me years of scouring the globe to find this thing. But it is heavy. It is 35 pounds of steel, and it has the actual Infinity Gems in it. They're just all dead and out of power.
I was going to say you spent years finding each individual stone as well. So.
Well, no, obviously you delegate that kind of thing.
All right. There was one in Costa Rica. I know that much.
Yeah.
Are you able to click your fingers with?
No, you're not. It is specifically made with a blocker between the thumb and the forefingers, so that you can just get it close, but you can't quite snap them.
It's made for punching, really. That's what.
Well, we'll find out next Halloween what people think.
Good. I don't know, Ross, you normally do pretty good NFT projects of the week. Do you have one that you want to share with us too?
Potentially. I was going to ask if Keith had one.
I have one that I looked at. I stumbled totally randomly upon it, and I actually really liked the art and the kind of theme they're going for. And they're doing a few things a little bit different. Funny enough, it's a similar theme to one of the new things we're doing, but it's totally done in a different way. So do you guys see Battle Warriors?
Yeah, we got it.
Yeah. So it kind of reminds me of like vibrant graffiti art. And at the same time, there's obviously a Japanese kind of chibi anime style influence. But I really like some of their little, I don't know what's up with this girl though. I don't think she's going to win many battles.
I have those same. I have those same boxer shorts.
I liked, what they were trying to do to be different. So what they're doing that I found unique in reading their white paper is after the initial NFT drop, which is your standard type of drop, they're going to be releasing treasure chests that contain different items, weapons, and artifacts, I think. Oh, nice. And you'll be able to actually, with whatever you get in the treasure chest, replace it and upgrade the look of your character, as well as that item for their eventual game that's mentioned. So I thought that was cool, that instantly, pretty soon after drop, they have a drop scheduled of treasure chests, big ones, little ones, and there'll be an assortment of new stuff where you have the choice. Do you want to upgrade the gear on your person visually or not? So yeah, it's just something I came across randomly, and I figured it'd be cool to show on your show. Full disclaimer, I have zero connection with these guys, no idea who they are, no idea, not recommending it as a investment project. I just like the art, I like the style, and I like they were trying to do something a little new and being upgradable, in that sense. So
I think it's cool that it's sort of like a full figure one. You don't see that often. Well, you don't see it in PFP projects, obviously, because it's more a profile picture thing. But full figure, and then lots of different, like a big ass shield and different swords and that. I don't know. I like it. It's really
yeah,
neat.
and then from what I saw in their white paper, so they're calling it kind of the Vikings of ETH, but I believe they're going to release the Pirates of Solana as the second team, and then you'll be able to use characters from both cross-chain in this eventual game. So that's also another thing that's pretty cool.
Yeah, cool.
That is cool. So that's battlewarriors.io.
And then the other thing I can show you guys, it's blown up. There's a lot of influence involved. I took a shot at it just to try it out and learn their game mechanics and really learn their tokenomics. But if no one's seen these cold-blooded creeps, their website is great. Like everything you want to do, it's actually, it's a nice interactive map. They have excellent flow as far as tutorial instruction. Like everything is clear. Every time your transactions process, you get like really cool theme status updates. And so I like what they're doing. It's, again, it's something where I just thought I don't typically like stuff that involves celebrities in a, just using them without their permission kind of way. Right. Even if it's fine on the legal side, they have Mark Cuban, they have Snoop Dogg, they have Paris Hilton, they have a bunch. I kind of prefer original characters. But that said, they did do some cool stuff. Like you had to collect 5 different cards to basically burn them and make a mega version. And the mega version can steal money essentially from other lizards. And there are lizard overlords, and they do have, they've been executing very quickly on the roadmap. They've been, being very communicative. So it's a matter of, can they sustain the demand and the excitement and the hype? If not, that's a problem that faces all these token-based, like play to earn utility games. And at least from what I've seen, their team is like really on the ball. So yeah, I would say I'm very interested to see how far they go and what else they come up with. But as far as, it's in the vein of stuff like Wolf Game and these type of just utility games.
Right.
But they're definitely moving at a much faster pace, and so far things have been much smoother than some of the others. So
yeah, both very cool projects. Well, Keith, thank you very much for joining us. It was super fun to have you here. Loved hearing about your background and the origins of MasterBrews and your
my giant stage hook.
Yeah, this is hey, you can stay for the next 3 hours, but we're trying to keep you on task here.
Yeah, I do have, unfortunately, to take a important call. They're all important, yeah, you never know what they can lead to, right? So
no, exactly.
it was a pleasure. I know we had a few technical difficulties, but I'm game to be on anytime you guys want. Awesome. I'm sure you will have other guests to get to first, because everyone wants a shot. You can't just have me. But I'm down to have a regular or reoccurring role if you want.
Like that. I love it. We do the MasterBrews Minute or some other good branding, and yeah, I love it.
All right.
Love it. Oh, thank you.
So great, guys. And yeah, I guess continue onwards as you were, gentlemen.
Yeah.
Take care, man. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. So our thanks to Keith once again for joining us. That was awesome. I have always wanted to hear that marriage story, so I'm glad he was able to share it with us. What do you say we look at some quirky news of the week?
That I've been looking forward to it. So wow me, please.
Once again, it's from your neck of the woods. Seems to be where all of the quirkiness happens. This one, again, it's not super weird. It's just kind of interesting to me. I always like when this stuff happens. Workers at a Scottish golf course unearthed 95-year-old message in a bottle.
Jesus.
So cool. Workers doing renovations on a bunker at the golf house club in, is
Ely.
it Ellie or Ely?
Ely, yeah. There was like 10 minutes away from where I was born. Eh?
Oh, nice.
Yeah, cool.
So the golf club was established in May 1875. The workers looked inside the bottle and found a message written on the back of a Craven cigarette package. The message was dated November 18th, 1926.
Mhm.
We are here today, but where we will be when this is found, we do not know. Good luck, the message reads. And Gavin Cook, the golf club secretary, said officials looked into records and determined the three men who signed the note, T. Donaldson, D. King, and W. Eason, were employees at the facility in the 1920s. Cook said the workers planned to bury their own message in a bottle in the same spot once the work is completed.
Yeah, that's wicked.
So
I always
I
figure,
love stories like that.
yeah, no, it's cool. The message in the bottle thing is, I know it's always like very mysterious. Like sometimes I think when I think about it, it's like it's almost like someone's in danger. Like you put a message in a bottle and chuck it in the sea, so someone would eventually come and find you, I guess. But also,
Right.
it's just cool to see that it can just be like a message of good luck, basically, or like a wee attempt at a time capsule, you know. And I suppose
Yeah.
it is. So now it's cool.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I like it too. Yeah, I was always fascinated by things like time capsules, and I always wanted to find a message in a bottle. We had a cottage right on Lake Champlain in Vermont, which is right on the border with Quebec near Montreal.
Yep.
And so yeah, the cottage on the lake. So I was like, maybe I will find a message in a bottle on this.
So hopeful.
Yeah, in this small lake in the middle of Canada and the States. Yeah, so good.
Since we've been renovating this house, although renovating is maybe too generous a term, we've been ripping it apart, I guess. We found one message, at least, from the old carpenters of the house, and it was just like the carpenter's name, finished the work on the eclipse of the moon 1906 or something. And it's just cool to see these wee messages from people more than 100 years ago, you know.
That's
It's
cool.
got nothing to do with a museum or anything. It's just, oh, that's in your house, you know, and just a little bit of history that no one knows other than you now, because they'll be dead, long fucking gone. 1906.
Right, exactly. Yeah, my friend renovated his old place however long ago and took it down to the studs, and we wrote shit all over the walls as well. So we'll see.
Yeah, well, hopefully it's classy shit, you know, not just for drawing penises.
Oh no. It was you know, I wrote like help me or you know, stuff like that. Stuff like that.
Oh no, it's too bad. You had your chance at something great.
I knew a or not new. I saw on Reddit the one time that someone did the same thing, but they bought like a, you know, like a skeleton that you would get for a professor or something,
right.
And they hid it in the wall and then finished the wall.
Jesus,
that'd
be freaky, but good. You know, eventually when the people figure out, oh, it's just plastic.
Yeah, exactly.
A prank has been played.
Well, I've got as well a comedy bit of the week. All and awesome. And we can watch that. Yeah, I really like TJ Miller. That's who this week's comedian is. You know, he's had a bit of a rough few years. I don't agree with some of the things he's done in the last couple of years, but I you know, he was going through some tough times from a mental health perspective, and so you know, I don't, you know, we don't need to get into it, but he's made some mistakes. Who hasn't? And he's trying to make his way back. And so yeah, I was just browsing Facebook this morning, and there was an ad for the local comedy club, and it said TJ Miller. And I like TJ Miller. So I clicked on it, and he's doing 4 shows, and 3 of them were already sold out. So I was like, oh shit, I better buy them now. So it was one of those pure, like, you know, I went from not knowing about it to have bought the tickets in 3 minutes, pure impulse buy. But it'll be nice to get out, and they do a pretty good job where we're headed. They do a pretty good job, you know, dealing with, you know, you can only go in if you're vaccinated, and social distancing appropriate and all that. So I'm not too concerned from that point of view.
All right, very good.
All right. So this is TJ Miller on a talk show. And for whatever reason, he's sweating profusely. And then just, you'll see throughout the clip, but it has to do with water. You'll see throughout the clip. I don't know if we'll play the full 6 minutes, but we'll get started and we'll stop at some point. All right.
Here he is.
Is he in the studio?
He's not here.
Dumb, but not in a funny way. I've been trying to be dumb in a funny way since I started. That's incredible.
Here, that's nice.
You know, a lot of people come on here, and I'm sure they act insane, and they do their spit takes because they're comedians. But I don't do the spit take thing anymore because it's just been so played out. It feels like an 80s device.
Okay.
So I'm doing more dribble takes now.
Okay.
More over the spit take. So go ahead. I'm sorry.
No.
Okay. Well, I was just going to say, here he is, straight off the Todd and Tyler Radio Empire.
What? Really? That's a dribble take. Here, say something else crazy.
Hold on,
Mike, right?
can we zoom in on him so we don't miss this shot?
Get in
Like
here.
super tight.
Zoom in so we don't.
There's no cameraman, but robot.
Super tight.
Robot, come close. Robot, come close.
Now,
Okay.
please get there,
Here
right
we go.
there.
Okay, so say something crazy. to
Why
me,
did
Mike.
you-
Say
why
something
did-
about how you guys just got married or something like that.
We just got married.
What? Really? Oh no! And a lot of people say, TJ, you got wet knees, you know? But I don't necessarily know. I think that can be considered some sort of a slur. You know, they call me old wet knees. Old wet knees, carrots and peas, they used to call me in San Antonio.
They did call you that, huh? Oh, wet knees. So you got this movie coming out, Transformers.
What? I'm in Transformers? No one told me that. No one told me that.
Mary's left foot is
soaked.
wet.
I'm getting
Her left foot is
Oh,
wet.
please.
So anyways, it just goes on like that. But TJ Miller, you may know him from Silicon Valley. He was also in Cloverfield, one of the few pieces of comedic relief in Cloverfield, which was the monster movie from, it's gotta be 15 years ago now at this point. But
The name rings a
TJ
bell.
Miller.
Yeah, name rings a bell, but I can't remember.
Cloverfield was a film that was made in secret and made by J.J. Abrams, who directed Star Wars.
Right.
And so while he was in the editing room editing whatever the first of the new 3 Star Wars was called, The Force Awakens, while he was in the editing room editing The Force Awakens, he was also secretly editing Cloverfield.
Interesting.
So good. So yeah, TJ Miller, I'm really pumped to see him.
Yeah. No, it's a funny guy. I've not seen a lot of his stuff. I definitely recognize the voice. I'm just trying to freaking remember from where though. So yeah, comedian plus actor then.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's been in a few shows. His best known show, I'm sure, is Silicon Valley.
Right.
At least in North America. Great. So always fun to end on a comedy note. It was an interesting episode full of guests and technical difficulties, but I think we did it.
We managed. We got through.
And next week I'll have a brand new computer, so there'll be no more technical difficulties. There'll be no more poor quality video on my end. It will just be, it'll be perfect.
Pure technical bliss.
Pure technical bliss. And yeah, this is episode, do we say 7 up at top? Crazy.
I think I said episode 6, but it's 7, isn't it? Whoops.
I'm pretty sure it's 7. That's okay.
Whoops.
All right, Ross. Well, you have a good rest of your week.
Absolutely. You too. A good weekend, I suppose. It is Friday after all.
It is Friday. And
Yep.
as always, thanks very much to everybody who's listening. Thanks very much to everybody who's watching. If you have any questions or comments for us, if you'd like to be a guest and you've got knowledge or expertise in something, any of that stuff, email us asknftpod@gmail.com and visit our website at nearlyfreshtopics.com. And thank you very much. We will see you next week.
Out.